If you recall, back in the early days of the 2024 campaign, Donald Trump used to love to brag about Operation Warp Speed and bringing the COVID vaccine to the people. However, at his rallies, whenever he brought up this subject, people tended to kind of quiet down a little bit, and he often wondered why. And the next thing you notice, he kind of stopped mentioning it altogether. Now, there's a reason for that, and that's going to be shared with us by country singer John Rich over on the Try That in a Small Town podcast. But before we begin, don't forget to like and comment on this video so we get through the algorithms. Here we go.
Sitting there, and everybody's eating their food, and President Trump is not president at this time, and he's talking to the senators and talking about really important stuff, and I'm just minding my own business going, I don't know how I got in this room. Well, okay. I'm sitting elbow to elbow with him. It's about an hour into dinner. I hadn't said a word, just been listening, and Trump gets through eating, and you've seen him do this move right here. Yeah. Wherever in the big boardroom he does this. Okay, that's what he does. He goes, can I ask you a question, John Rich? He never calls me John. John Rich? I look at him, I go, yes, sir. What's the question? He goes, well, you do a lot of big shows. Like, you're an entertainer? Yes, sir. You play for really big crowds? I go, I do. I play for really big crowds for a long time. He goes, well, have you seen these rallies I'm doing? Like, it's 30, 40,000 people. I said, yeah, it's unbelievable. He goes, so here's the question. Why are people booing me at my rallies when I bring up the vaccine? This is the question from the President of the United States. A guy who is very proud at that moment of the fact that he was able to stomp the gas pedal and get that thing out because he's under the impression this is going to fix the problem.
Operation Warp Speed.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a guy who, to his own admission, one of the biggest egos on the earth.
Yeah.
And he's very proud of this. And I respect him to, there is no limit.
You're right.
But I'm being asked a very direct question. And so, man, I looked at him and I said, okay, I'm going to tell you the answer and you're not going to like it. He goes, okay, what's the answer? You're going to look at me like this? I said, let me start off by saying this. We, the American people, do not trust the people that you were forced to trust at the time when this was happening. Let's start there. And I said, by the people we don't trust, here's who I mean. The FDA, the CDC, the NIH, the WHO, Fauci, and all the rest of them. I said, Mr. President, we consider them to be a bunch of murderous, depopulationist psychopaths.
And his reaction was...
That's a good way to start.
His eyes are, he goes, unbelievable. Unbelievable. He's stunned. No, he is stunned that I said that. I said, now, let me tell you why they're booing you. I said, because all of them, including me, I said, I would boo you. I would boo you.
You did not.
I would boo you.
Really?
If you brought that up, and here's why. And he's looking at me, and I'm thinking to myself, this is the last time this guy's going to invite me to anything.
Yeah.
He's never going to call me again. I'm throwing massive shade on a former president's, in his mind, one of his biggest accomplishments. And it dawned on me, nobody had told the man what I was telling him right now, because they all work for him. They all got something to gain from him. They're not going to tell him this because they're not serving him well. I don't work for him. And I think a lot of him, and I want him to understand the truth about it. So I said, here's the problem. Here's why they're booing you, Mr. President, because every human being out in that rally, either themselves or they know someone directly who has been harmed by the vaccine or has even died from it, including me. I said, I got members of my own family who were forced to take it against their will to keep their jobs, and now they've got all kinds of problems. Big problems, heart problems, lung problems. And he's looking at me, and he looks around the table and he goes, this is unbelievable. I mean, he goes, has anyone else heard this? Herschel Walker, he was running for Senate at the time. He goes, Mr. President, I mean, down in Georgia, my constituents come up at my rallies, and what John just said, man, I hear it every single day. Looks over at Marcia. Marcia's sitting there going, you know, looks around the table, and then Lindsey Graham, who's sitting across. So you're here, or I'm here. I'm sorry, but you're Lindsey Graham.
Sorry, you're Lindsey.
Who's Lindsey, everybody?
Okay.
I'm Lindsey.
You're Lindsey Graham, and you're me. Okay. going into the part where I said, even in my own family, I have Lindsey Graham busts in with it swishing his Chardonnay around and said, Mr. President, if you listen to conspiracy theorists like John Rich, the Democrats are going to take credit for what you did, and they're going to beat you in the next election with it.
Oh,
And so I'm looking at Trump, and he's sitting over there, and he does that, and I looked at him and I said, do not interrupt me when I'm speaking. Do you understand me?
what?
And he looked at me and he goes, well, I didn't mean to disrespect you. I go, yeah, but you did.
Oh,
So
Right now, you look like Wyatt Earp. And it's very intimidating.
Trump is right here. You're Lindsey Graham, okay? I'm holding him.
oh, good.
Yeah.
You're Lindsey Graham.
I look back up at the president. I look at him one more time. I go, now let me finish what I was saying.
Oh, man.
And then I finished it. Okay.
That
Trump ended that by saying, so I guess no more vaccine talk. I said, I think that's a good idea.
So this, of course, represents my one big disappointment in Donald Trump from his first term. The shutting down of the country and, of course, believing all of the experts on COVID. Okay, now I don't really blame Trump for that because this was something that seemed to be kind of new, that everyone was kind of freaked out about. So he was kind of relying on their expertise, on their knowledge in this field. But of course, little did he know, even though many other people did, that all of those folks were corrupt and have histories of telling lies and exaggerating things. And of course, had certain ties to certain companies and certain countries. Okay, so all that stuff was happening behind the scenes and Trump didn't necessarily know about it. Okay, so in my mind, when he did that shutdown, we shut down for 2 weeks that ended up turning into 2 years for some states. That's when Donald Trump lost the election because it allowed all of the Democrats to seize more power, specifically over the voting system, voter registration, mail-in ballots, all of that stuff. Okay, and anybody wonders why Donald Trump lost? That was the starting point, as we all know. So fast forward a few years, and yes, Donald Trump has learned an awful lot, but apparently he didn't know that the vaccine was widely discredited, that people didn't like it because so many people were fired for not taking it, and those that were forced to take it ended up getting injured, okay? And now, of course, we know a whole lot more about it because we no longer have to talk about it in hushed tones in quiet corners, lest we get kicked off of the internet, okay? Or even prosecuted and losing medical licenses in some instances, all right? All of that stuff really happened. So do I blame Donald Trump for any of that? No, because at the time, I think he was in good faith trying to trust the people that supposedly knew what was best. But little did he know they were all a bunch of psychopaths. And I love the way that John Rich points it out, right? These are a bunch of depopulationists who are out to line their pockets on the backs of you and I, the taxpayer. And of course, we all saw the narrative break down in real time. At first, of course, we knew that if you took the vaccine, you were never going to get COVID. And we also knew you were never going to pass it along. But then, of course, it changed that, oh, you have to get the vaccine even if you've already had COVID. And then, of course, it changed that you have to get the vaccine so you don't spread COVID anymore. And then, of course, it changed to everyone has to get the vaccine so we can stop COVID. And of course, they tried their hardest to accomplish just that. And can you imagine what state this country would be in if, in fact, every single person was forced to take it, right? How many injuries would we be facing right now? How many deaths would we be facing? And thank goodness it didn't happen. But dang it, Donald Trump, he should have known at this point in time how unpopular it was. And I'm really surprised that nobody in his circle had discussed it. So thank you very much, John Rich, for getting Donald Trump to stop talking about it. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me. Do you like t-shirts? Of course you do. And now you can support the channel by buying an Angry Teacher t-shirt designed by me, Angry Teacher. So if you like America, if you like freedom, if you like liberty, then go ahead and click the link in the description where all designs, of course, are 100% mother approved. So enjoy yourself and find something you like today.